that there are many careers for artists. No artist is pigeonholed to just one thing. You know, we are creators of product. We are amazing, so we can do all things. So again, this is the last Careers in the Arts. We've had some amazing people come through here on this first Saturday of the month. If you didn't catch it, check it on Arts Clayton on our Instagram page, Facebook, and you'll see the past Arts Careers in the Arts interviews we had. So let's get started with the man himself, Dan the Man. What's happening, Dan?
What's up, brother? Thank you for having me.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, we've known each other for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Long time. All right, so you've had all kinds of artists here,
Yes.
and that's cool. You know,
Yes.
I'm happy to be here and share a little bit about myself.
Right.
Let's start with that. Started my artist career in early 90s, and I was already actually getting paid to draw in school. When I was in middle school and high school, I would do a drawing and then exchange it for a lunch ticket. And then lunch ticket, and I would have 2 lunches. I would eat 2 lunch slices. I gotta eat. And so I saw the value that others had in my art. You know, just like that.
Quick.
Yeah, and I would decorate my textbooks with this sheet of paper they used to give us, a big sheet of paper. You cover up your textbook, and I would draw on mine, and then people would hand me their sheet of paper, like, "Can you draw on mine too?" And I started thinking, that's gonna cost me. And my mother was big on Avon and Tupperware and all that stuff, so it was real easy for me to see someone selling.
Yeah.
You know, so that just helped me say, I need, this is my Avon. You know, I can sell this. So by the time I got out of high school, I knew I wanted to be an artist, but I did not know what I was going to do. I did not know how artists got made, where did artists go, nothing. And so that's when I left the Marine Corps, and I said, well, let me go to Atlanta, because Atlanta was up and coming in those days. In '94, Atlanta was on the news because the Olympics were coming. So I came to Atlanta, and I still didn't know how I was going to be an artist. But one day, a friend of mine dropped me off in front of a tattoo shop, and he said, "Go in there, show them your work." And I was like, "Why would I do that?" But all right, I'm not scared. I'll do it. I showed them my artwork. I used to carry a backpack full of sketchbooks and markers and pencils, and I showed them my portfolio. I never been to art school, but I knew that artists would put their artwork in those sleeves and in those black portfolio books, right? So I started doing that too. As just being interested in what others were doing, I would start doing the same thing. So I showed them my portfolio, and they offered to teach me how to do tattoos. And man, that was it. I was hooked. That was 1995, and it was still part of a lot of training and apprenticeship to go through, but it was really easy to go from pencil to the skin. You know, like bam, because it's just it's not the same technique, but it's still the same talent, the same skill. And man, I do not want to have any other type of job except for art. Yeah.
So what high school did you go to
In
in LA?
LA, I went to Roosevelt High School. Yeah, it's nicer and tamed nowadays. When I see it from the outside, I don't know what in it, so I don't know. But in the '80s, it was rough. Yeah, it was rough. The '80s.
Place to grow up.
Yeah, '70s and '80s, and you would get jumped on the way to school every day, depending which block you walk down. You know, you keep your eyes open, and then you see somebody creeping. It's like, oh, I'm about to get into a fight now. And that was growing up in East LA, bro.
Yeah.
Man.
Now let me ask you, did you tag?
Yes, all the time. Yeah, 'cause I like my name.
So what were you tagging?
I like my name. You know, it was just my name. It was regular Dan. I didn't go for any weird names, and I didn't have any nicknames growing up.
Okay.
Because I did not have a group of artist friends.
Gotcha.
That wasn't it. It was just people in your neighborhood who it just slowly changes. You know, you're cool with somebody, you play, and then the next day they got their hair slicked back. Now they're wearing the white tee, and you're like, dang, they're in the gang now. That's it. They're in the gang, and so, but I would draw comics characters and stuff, and so I had not yet started to draw myself as a comic book character, not yet. But I would always do the letter D or Dan. And as a kid, when I was in like the 3rd or 4th grade, my teacher, one of the teachers, had a sister who was a substitute teacher, and so the sister would come and do substitute for that class. And one day she was drawing on the chalkboard. Something she was drawing. The class was rowdy. I don't know what was happening. I don't remember, but I remember walking up to the chalkboard and saying hello and whatever. And then she gave me some chalk and said, "Write your name." And so I wrote my name regular, Dan or Daniel. And she said, "No, draw it like this." And then she drew my name really pretty and cute. I was like, "What?" And so it had never occurred to me that letters could be art, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's when I was hooked after that. And so later, we're talking about tagging. I was doing nice letter D's. Like, yeah, my name, if anything, and I suggest this to any person who doesn't have to be an artist. If there's anything you could do that's artistic and creative, the first letter of your name, focus on that.
Okay.
Find a way to make it pretty.
I know.
I heard it from Dan.
That's right.
So when you, how long did you do tattoos? When I met you, you had Vantage Point Studios. Yacht.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how long did y'all run Vantage Point?
That was 8 years. So after my apprenticeship for 1.5 years or 2 years, I worked at a tattoo shop. And the conditions were not good with the owner. And so, but Yada was already working there. That's where I met Yada, at the tattoo shop.
Shout out to Lord Yada.
Lord Yada, that's right. Cool dude. And he's my brother-in-law.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Y'all stuff went deeper.
I kept it in the
Amazing.
family. That's right.
Man.
Yep. And so I knew that what I wanted to have more control over my career or what I got to do as an artist. That was it. Yes, you're an artist. You're drawing. You're tattooing people. By then, Yada started teaching me how to paint and try out other art mediums. And but there was always this 9 to 5 mentality because you had to show up at the shop, open the shop, stay there till close, day in and day out, right? And so by then I found found an investor, a old friend of mine. He decided to invest in us, and we partnered up and we opened a tattoo shop in the West End area of down Cascade in 1997. Yeah, 97. Yeah, and then from there we went hard. We were just focused on being the artist that we wanted to be, and then not just tattoos, not just doing art on the people who walk through the door, but also hosting art shows, using the wall space not for art that people get to pick art off the wall and get it tattooed, but art that's different every month. Every month is different, and so yeah, it's we had a good time being free. Save no money, and just enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is right before social media. Social media started right at the end. So all we got is, as proof is pictures, old pictures that you still pick up and hold. And which is good because some of the stories you don't want to see them on the internet. But that was, and so it ended in 2005. By then, Yada was moving on, still doing tattoos, but he worked somewhere else. I was burnt out. I got burnt out, and feeling locked in to doing the art that people asked me to do. And I'm still that way now. I'm hired to do art, but I get to choose the customers I want, right? Whereas when you have a storefront, that business walks through the door, you need to say hello and accept the job, because that's what you're there for. That's the business model. That you advertise, you promote, yellow pages, all of that, so that you can get them through the door, so that you can do what they ask. And the majority of the time, what they were asking for was the same basic ideas, and you didn't feel stuck. You're constantly tattooing the same thing. Oh, roses, panthers, crosses.
Yeah.
I still PTSD about it. It's like,
Man,
yeah, man, yeah.
burn out. That's
Yeah.
the burnout.
Yeah.
Burnout is real, even for artists.
Yeah.
Anytime you have a job or something, a passion, and it becomes more of a chore, more of something like strenuous and stressful, that's burnout. You know?
Yeah.
So you had to evolve to keep that freedom in your heart.
Right, exactly. Right, correct. And that's a good way of looking at it. It's evolution. You have to grow into the next step in your art career. And everything that I've done up until this point has been through trial and error, looking at other people, studying other artists, learning from other artists, and then understanding that I gotta keep it moving myself.
Right.
I gotta keep it moving.
Keep on moving.
Yeah.
And part of this careers in arts is showing that, because most artists, their start is going to be drawing, whatever. We talking visual artists, but you're started, drawing, painting, sculpting, and you can get locked into, because the reason why I even started this whole thing was because, again, the evolution. Because that's the same thing, artist to curator, educator. Still an artist. I say I'm an artist first, right? All this other stuff, I take on that as well, but I'm an artist first because that's what moves me, innovation. But you have your start, and you could get pigeonholed because the art game itself, it's like it doesn't really teach you, other than the technical aspects, you don't learn the business at all. You don't learn that there's other ways to make money. You don't learn any of that. You have to find that out on your own. And I think every artist, professional artist, will agree with that. And you evolve into a working artist, teacher, or teaching artist, something where you're still active, but you're doing other things. To me, I call that more of a multi-dimensional, outside of just the creation, because it evolves. And if it evolves, we need more people in position to help visual artists who may still be stuck in that television. So we still need artists to show work in galleries. We still need some people at the top in the galleries to make the decisions on what the work comes in, so it ain't just a bunch of crap. And then artists are like, well, dang, how can I get a show? This bull crap is on the wall, how can I get a show? You know what I mean? So we work from that aspect. So we need art administrators, we need art writers, critics, artists, just passionate artists, we need all that. So saying all that to say, the evolution put you in a position where you ended up starting you started an artist platform, for artists. I'm gonna say artist platform. I'll let you take it further.
Sure.
But something that just to institute that idea, and he was calling it Artist King.
Yep.
And it was, to me, I thought it was dope. So at times he asked me to participate, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I don't turn people down when they ask for stuff. I usually just go with it because I know what it takes to build this art thing. So I didn't come here like it's just about me and my art.
Right.
You know what I mean? My mindset been shook that mindset. that thinking a long time ago, because we need each other to build. So if somebody needs something, hey, we need to help each other. So those collaborations are very important. So he's like, man, we got Artist King. You down? Yeah, I'm down. Let's go. And that's why I met Neil. And a bunch of other cats, and some of us we already knew each other. But speak on Artist King, man.
Well, the evolution is important, but understanding why you need to evolve is where it starts.
Yes.
Because a lot of artists are comfortable where they are, and they're not going to evolve. No, they're not going to change. They're not going to add something. Right. And that's a conversation I have all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a working artist. I get paid to draw. I get paid to produce artwork, and so other artists will see that, and they'll see the artwork on these walls, and somebody will buy a painting and think, well, I can paint that too. I can paint something like that. Give me $5,000, and it's like, yes, sure. Sit down and negotiate, and then now their brain don't work, right? Okay, tell us about your art. Now their brain don't work, and that's because they're comfortable creating what they like to create, but then to use that art as a way of life, they haven't collected all these other skills and talents to help you build that career that you want. So and so they haven't seen the need for it, so they haven't evolved. They haven't added these other things. And so me, I wanted more. I was burnt out. I was tired. I wanted to draw what I wanted to draw and get paid for it. And then, but who's gonna pay you to draw the things that you feel like drawing, right? That's the key. Like, how could I find somebody who's just gonna be like, that's awesome, Dan. Here, do more of that. Here's some more money. Right?
Yeah.
And nobody tells you these things, and art business education is not commonly taught, you know. And so that's where the evolution comes in. It's like, well, this is not enough, you know. And when I was burnt out, also. Lord God and I, we reached our highest level of business skills. Mm-hmm. Like, that's it. We tapped out. Yeah. We saw the tattoo shops growing, getting several locations. Mm-hmm. You know, these guys becoming superstars. And like, well, what are they doing? What is it? And or what is it that I'm not doing that's not happening for me? And that's because you've reached the level of what you know. So we shut it down, and that's when I decided that I need to find that joy of my art that got me into art, the joy of creation, and find the people who will support that. Now, how is that going to happen? And so I went off on a business education path, entrepreneurship path, and there's a business practice called startup, which is starting a business from the ground up, right? You're starting out, but there are fundamentals to everything. And so that's where I went off, and I got me some mentors in the business community, mentors in the startup community, and they started telling me all these things that are the basic fundamentals that you should know when starting a business. And when you have customers, that's when you have a business. That's it. One of the fundamentals is you gotta sell the product higher than what it costs you to put it together, which artists don't do. They'll spend $200 on a canvas, another $100 on paint, 2 weeks painting it, and then they sell it for $100. I'm like, wait a minute, you just gave away your time, your talent, and the materials and stuff, and so these are like mind-opening things. But the reason why artists feel it's okay is because we've been told that art is a talent that is a gift to the world, right? That starving artist mentality has been hashed into our heads, right? And when you start off in art, it's not like mechanic work. When you learn how to do mechanic work, there's a shop will hire you. There's no such thing for artists like that. Just because you know how to draw good doesn't mean they just don't hire you, right? And so you start doing art in the beginning in a way where, you know, I gave away my drawings. So I was taking a hit, I was taking a loss, right? I was selling my drawings for a lunch ticket. Well, whatever that lunch ticket was worth, that burrito, that pizza slice, that's how much my drawing was worth at that time. And so we grow up thinking, oh, this is something that I can constantly produce. So I'll accept any price right now. And that's when we don't pay attention to our budget. Another fundamental. How much is this stuff costing me? Every trip I go to the store, I come out with bags with art materials, and I'm broke because I spent all my money on it. And our companies are not giving you a break. They're making profits, right? So those are the fundamentals that as time goes on, you have to understand about yourself. You have to understand about your talent, about your work, and say, okay, well, I need to earn more money than what I'm spending. I need to find people who want to buy the stuff that I already like to do. And slowly you start evolving, and with the evolution of social media, I started seeing all these posts about artists saying, somebody want to buy art, oh, check out my gallery, oh, check out this, check out that. And I'm like, that's not how we say things, because it sounds like you're begging. Exactly. And we mentioned this earlier before we started the stream, is that, you know, we want to, any person, doesn't matter if you're an artist or not, it doesn't matter what kind of talent or skill or hobby you have, you want to enter a conversation with leverage. If it's a business conversation, if it's something that you want out of it, You come in with leverage, and you come from a position of, I'm already doing the thing I like to do, and you can join me and come with it, or you can get left behind. What you gonna do, right? And instead of what we're used to doing now is put me in, let me put in a piece of work. You know, as a curator, and I curated shows, tons of shows, and you've been curating way back when too. You know, you want to give artists a chance, but then so they bring you a drawing, and you're like, well, let me see more. Well, that's all I got. Well, when did you draw this? When I was in high school. How long you been out of high school? 5 years. Like, this is the thing you're drawing, and you want, what are you gonna do when I give you a chance? You're not prepared. You're not ready, right? And so it is. So that's where the artist has not been given enough education to understand what their talent is for, what it's about, and so on. And so, dang, it was a point I was gonna make on that, and I forgot already. Already, my brain goes too fast. And so that's the thing that when it comes to the business and the art, there's those fundamentals that we need to understand. And, so I saw artists posting these things. I'm coming from a position of put me in coach instead of position is that I got 20 paintings already. You know, let's do some business, right? And so artists come in from that mindset of put me in. And so now you're taking a hit because then the other person says, oh, they desperate. You know, I'll give you $20. You know, or what I heard a lot is say, well, let's get a student artist. Like, what does that mean? You're still an artist, what are you talking about? Oh, because they charge cheap.
Yes.
They don't know, right?
Yes,
or let's get an artist who still lives at home. Why? Because their bills are low? Or they still got bills, they're still an artist. They should still get paid. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
And so we have to, so when I started seeing those posts on social media, I was angry. I was really angry. I've been an angry person for a long time. Growing up in East LA, it makes you angry anyway. And so, but my wife's like, you know, you got to pay attention to your brand, which we say brand, but reputation is the word that we used to use, reputation.
Yes.
She's like, that's your reputation, you got to be careful. So stuff you say, it's like, you're right. And then another friend of mine, I posted one day and I was saying something about artists, how they don't know how to do something. And this friend of mine said, he responded saying, well, maybe because no one told him. I was like, dang, no one told them. No one knows, they don't know.
Just like we said in the beginning, you get your technical training, that's it. So people are like, well, I've studied classical painting and all this. Dude, it means nothing. You got the skills. First of all, you got to have a passion to be an artist. It's in you as a child, right? And whatever you study, whether you went to school or studied under a great artist, same thing. You just didn't pay for it. You know what I mean? But the fact that you got the training and mentoring, but one of the things that they don't tell you as well is that art is a marathon race. It's not a sprint. Ain't no sprinting in art. You jump in, I'm gonna come in here, make a bunch of money with my art, and retire at a young age and live on the island in the Caribbean forever. It's like, that's the artist, what you think, you know what I mean? The sky's the limit. But, and all that is so possible.
Yeah, it is.
But, it's a marathon race. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Nipsey Hussle. It's a rest in peace, it's a marathon race. So you in this for, you notice, and check the history of it, if anybody have any doubt, check your OG artists, 60, 70, 80, 90. How long you been working? 40, 50 years. When did you start seeing the fruits of your labor? A little bit later, because that's when the fruits start falling off the tree.
Right.
But it's really about dedication.
Yes, it is.
Are you in this for 20 years or are you in this for the rest of your life?
Right.
You know, the love you got in it, it's a lifetime thing, right?
Yeah.
It ain't no, man, please, what else I'm gonna do? Like for me, I was like, art is it. There's no other, you know what I mean? There's no backup. Well, if art don't work out, I'll get into real estate. No, it was like art, and then let the other things come about, the blessings that you get from the art, you know?
Right. Well, I like to tell artists that however long it took you to master your talent, that's how long it's going to take you to master the business.
Yes.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. And so, you know, you can start trying to understand the business now and find your place, or you can do it later when you're mad, upset, broke, and played out. You know, and it's you don't get paid what you're worth. You don't get paid what the true value of who you are. You get paid what you negotiate. And if you don't know how to negotiate, you don't know how to talk to people, then you're not going to get it right. So then it's going to take that much longer. And that's the sad part, because artists, we love the creation process. We love sitting there and playing with the art materials, and it's a solo action. It's a solo activity. It's by yourself. But then understanding the art, the business of art, the business, just business in general, understanding the marketplace, understanding your place in the marketplace, understanding who your clients can be, that takes community.
Oh, yes.
And so now you go from being that solo person with no social skills to now trying to understand what's going on out here and why. And the game is rigged, no doubt about it, but so are a ton of other things in this life that are rigged. And so your job is to understand those rules of that rigged game and play it the way it's supposed to be. Come on in, everybody. Come on in.
Yeah, real talk.
Yeah, that's it. So, it's like watching football. And I reference football because I watch it every now and then, but I don't know all the rules. Except that you see something, the play went bad, or somebody cheated or something, and you can clearly see it, but they didn't get caught or wasn't called out, and you're mad. You're like, well, that's the game. You got to understand that somebody's going to act that way at a particular point. And so with the business of art, you have to understand which game you're going to play, in which arena, in which level, because from fine art to comics to animation, they're all different types of games. They're played in different marketplaces with different types of people.
Yes.
And some people are more cutthroat than others. And so you have to sit there and study it for a while before you walk in. You cannot walk into me and you, maybe you because you work out. No, me and you are not going to walk into the Falcons game and say, put me in and put on the helmet and run into the thing. That's crazy. Give me 5 years of training. All right, I say 5. Because those guys, they've been training their whole lives.
Yes.
And so when you enter the art market, there's been people there for a long time. They've seen artists like you come and go. So you need training. You need training, marathon training. You got to learn how to breathe, learn how to you move your body,
Right.
the diet, all of that stuff, so that your body can be 110% and not get broken in the first place.
Straight up.
So that's the sad part about artists, and so that they don't take the time to learn the business side of it. They believe that someone should just come and get them out their house, be like, "This art is amazing! Come on, let's go!"
Let me take care of you. Put you in this mansion.
How come someone won't discover me? Why won't I be discovered? Well, why don't you go out and talk about your art? And so then that's when we started Artist King. Sorry, I got all the way around this world to talk about Artist King.
All good.
Yes. And so that's where the why of Artist King is that there's art everywhere, and we all have to understand, everybody has to understand, artists or not, that it took an artist to create this fabric. It took an artist to create this chair, that shirt, this wall, that brick, an artisan, a craftsman. Come on in.
That's right.
It took dedicated people to decide that I'm going to create this thing, and then society said, "Oh, that's useful. Let's use it for this." Right? And so arts is the same thing. We have to understand that without the creation process, without art, none of this stuff is going to be exist or available to society. Zero. The print that Neil has in his shirt, the print that you have on your shirt, somebody had to draw it before Walmart could put it in their store. Somebody had to draw it. Somebody had to make those textiles and sew them together. Those are artisans. And so art is king. And it's not a king-queen thing. It's on top of it all. Art runs it all. And until we see ourselves as those people whose job is to do this creating and the value and recognize the value that we deserve and we bring to this, we're gonna keep getting run over. And so that's where Artist King comes into play, is that you gotta have the right mindset. Forget starving artists, forget trying to struggle for your art. It's part of life, but that's not what we're gonna glamorize. We're gonna push hard to understand the business so that when you get into the conversation where somebody sees you drawing and they're like, hey man, what you got going on there? That's cool. Do you draw? Is that what you do for business? Like, yeah. And I said, well, how much is it? $1,500. And like, oh, you too expensive, man. You crazy. Because I saw somebody at the club selling $10 drawings because I was at MomoCon.
Right.
And somebody who spent $1,500 for his booth and a table for 3 days is doing $10 drawings. What's wrong with you? And we don't value ourselves. We don't understand the business. We're not ready to have that negotiating skills to negotiate for ourselves. And that's what Artist King is about. We got to represent. We have to. Sorry, man, get hyped.
Yeah. So when was the last and when is the next Artist King conference you're gonna be planning?
The last conference was a while ago, and it's a lot of work to bring things together. We've been fortunate to find sponsors along the way who want to see the community build the pool talent that continues way beyond. One thing is to encourage an artist now, and to continue creating. Another thing is to educate them on the business so that they can get paid to keep on drawing. And so it's been some years since we've done an actual conference, but up until the pandemic, we were doing events, monthly events. And the Microsoft store was one of our sponsors.
Yeah.
And so then when the Microsoft store had to shut down, we stopped. But that's the physical ones. Online, we're still doing them. They're not called Artist King every time, but the business and the education on the business of art is constantly happening. I stream every Monday and Wednesday at 7 o'clock on Behance, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. All right, so any one of those that you're on, you can watch me. And I explain some of my business processes. I explain some of my creative processes. I answer questions. I take artists through the steps of understanding their business, their social media presence, and that's a passion of mine. Drawing is the only thing I want to do with my life, but I enjoy seeing artists get paid for their work. I love it when sometimes I wish it was me. Like, ooh, man, that was awesome. But I love seeing other artists get paid and do some great projects. Like, yes, that's all we want. Because if someone else can do it, then that means I can do it. You're flesh and bone just like I am. All right, we got brains inside of here. It's like if this person can do it out there, well, that means I can do it. I just need to understand what they did, the steps. What are the steps that I'm missing that I need to handle? And so seeing these other examples of other artists getting paid, it just brings me joy. And I encourage artists all the time. I'm talking to artists all the time, giving them advice, giving them steps to take. Because, man, when an artist tells me they don't need me anymore because now they're making it big, I'm like, whew, yes.
Job done.
That's right. Yeah. Next. That's when I'm looking for the next one.
So it sounds like a lot of artist development.
That's all this. That's right. Well, our business.
Yes.
Business. Yeah. Because you can draw like me if you want to, but whatever you like to draw, we'll find the business for that.
Right on.
We need to find it.
Yes. Right. So you're looking to plan. When are you gonna get back to a physical since things are clearing up a little bit?
Whenever Artist Clayton says we have some dates open.
Oh, yeah.
In the second half
We definitely want to.
of 2022.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, this definitely. I think it's time. It's getting ready.
To introduce that to Clayton County.
That's right. Yeah. And just like the business, just like any business, is we have to lock in a few moving parts. Location is one, sponsorships is another. Because one thing I learned from curating shows in the beginning, and the beginning for me was like 2008. Well, before that, Yada was in charge of those shows. So I didn't pay attention, I didn't care. He did whatever he wanted. But even then, and once I started myself, we put up a lot of cash. Food, drinks, music. We always had a DJ of some kind. They pay them. They come and they working, right? Kroger ain't gonna let you walk out with food just because you say it's for an art show, right? They don't do that. And so after a while, I realized that wait a minute, we're putting on these shows and people are having a good time, but the art is not selling. And so for art events, I decided to focus on, in order to make it worth my while, besides just the good thing for the community, was that I need to cultivate collectors and sponsors. So even if we didn't sell anything, we just had a good time, at least everything was paid for. Yeah, so that's gonna be the steps that I like to take next. And I have an artist mentor, W is my artist mentor. But more so than just the artist, because he tells me stuff sometimes, and it's like, oh, that's a good idea, and then I do it, and that looks awesome. He's been instrumental in telling me where I need to work on when it comes to art events, because he got big sponsors. Like, that dude, oh my gosh. And so I'm like, okay. Sometimes you can't choose a date until you have things paid for. Once you know you have things paid for, and like, okay, cool, let's do it. Because the day of, you're not stressed out. The day of, you're having fun, and it shows with a better show. Yeah. So yeah, man, let's do it. I'm down. Let's talk about it. Let's go.
So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Artist King collab with Artist Clayton here in Clayton County. Now, as far as art, you brought this piece here. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, man. So my art is very inspired by comics, inspired by culture, my culture, Aztec culture, inspired by character. It's very character focused. So I like drawing people, characters, things maybe, or more people. And so this particular canvas, what's crazy about it is that an artist friend of mine told me she was quitting the painting business, and she had a ton of canvases, and she was giving them out. So I went and picked them up, and so she already had the base. She had the texture, she had some of the colors, and I let it sit in my studio for a while. And during this time period, I was doing a lot of robots and sci-fi things with a combination of Aztec art. And so I was doing a painting for one of my shows, and once you get into the groove, you're painting for a few days, like you just can't stop. Even if that painting is done, like, well, let me see what else I can paint.
Straight up.
Yeah. It's like that happens to me with the glue gun too. Like, man, you do the thing you're supposed to do with the glue gun after a while. Like, what else can we put some glue on? And so I saw it. I saw that canvas sitting in the corner of my eye, and it was upside down. I said, wait a minute, I think I see a figure. And boom, it came out. And so this is it's an Aztec goddess, and with the angel wings. It just kind of the blue that was on there already had that blue wings set up, and I could kind of see the head and the hand up there. So let's draw that. Let's go with that. And my technique is always acrylics and then markers, because I kind of fell into that marker dependency because I like clean lines.
Yeah.
And when you're painting, and if you don't have that right brush stroke, that line is not going to be clean. And if you don't have the right texture, the brush is going to go crazy.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, so markers is my thing.
Paint markers,
yeah.
Which brand?
Give me some money, I'll go buy any brand I can afford. Yeah. You like that marker? Montana, Molotov, Sharpie.
Liquitex.
Yes.
Liquitex paint markers is a beast.
Right, but if you want that white.
Liquitex.
Oh, there you go. We're talking to you, Liquitex.
Liquitex.
And Microsoft.
Adobe. Yeah.
It's so Molotov for me for the white, because the white covers. The Molotov white covers. But yeah, man, give me some paints. As a matter of fact, this year I was sponsored by Chartpack AD markers.
Okay.
Oh, those are the real funky, stinky markers. Oh, they're amazing. They're beautiful. And so yeah, it took me a lot of trial and error, because I like painting. I like canvases, And this is what W told me. I was drawing small, and he says, you know, dude, you should draw big. You should paint big. I was like, where am I gonna get canvas like that? And but once I did, I was like, oh man, yeah, because now I can add. I get lost in the details, and you can add details. You can change the size of the marker you're working with and get in there really tight. And so yeah, that's how that piece came out right there. And a lot of my artwork is just like that. Even comic book art, my NFTs, my digital, all of it is tons of color, but detail.
Yeah. So what do you call this piece?
You know what? It has a name, and I can't remember now because I grabbed it today. She's a mecha goddess. Mecha for mechanical goddess. Yes, and so I've done several versions of this one, and in digital, but traditional is just this one. Yeah, man. Yeah, I like it. It's I started this series called Azteca Moderno, and it features a lot of Aztec gods, and but in a modern day look with that comic flavor, futurism and comic book. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's up. So how many of these do you got?
Ooh,
Show.
man. Man, I got like 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I got like 20 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a ton of paintings. Yeah, I did a show at Apache once.
Yeah.
Filled up the place. But a lot of it now is digital too. So if I count digital, I got 100, and I can print them. I can get them printed. As a matter of fact, early this year, I finished an illustration that is at the what do you call that walk, or the thing goes around the city.
Belt
line. Yes, I keep forgetting. I need to remember belt
line.
A belt line. So they paid me to put a mural up. I decided to do it digital. Got it printed, and then went and installed it. So it's 36 feet long and 8 feet tall.
Nice.
And it's digital.
Got you.
Yeah, so man, I'll fill this place up. Watch out, I'll put them all across over the front of the building. Because the way I do my work, you can transform it to whatever size you want and still looks clean and sharp. Yeah, watch out.
Yeah. Years ago, we did a show with John Jennings. You know John Jennings?
Yes.
Yeah, we did the Black Curtain. And it was all digital.
Okay.
We did it at Southwest in the gallery, Southwest Art Center. Shout out Southwest Art Center. And then we did it at the Robert W. Woodruff. Clint Fluker, shout out to Clint. We did it was Planet Deep South conference in like 2018, 2019. And that was real dope. So we took more of their work and filled that whole Robert W. Woodruff auditorium.
Nice. Okay, nice, yeah.
It might still be there because we were supposed to be there for like 2 years. Like real dope. Yeah, so I know what you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, man. So you got anything else you want to share with this community?
Yes.
With the global
community,
market,
right?
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Follow your passion. Follow your passion and experiment. That's where the creator comes in.
Yeah.
You experiment, and then as time goes on, you'll find the thing that you really like to draw, and then you'll find your market. But always remember, no matter how much work you're doing for others, find the time to do the art for yourself. Because we kind of mentioned this before, like that burnout and painting things that you don't want to do, or tattooing things you don't feel like doing. And that's the business. A lot of times you get caught up in something, in a project. And what I do is I work on a project for days on end. Every day you sit down and you're working on it. But every few hours I'll draw a skull. Like, if I'm drawing like a children's book, everything's cute and pretty, lots of flowers, and then I'll draw a skull. I gotta do some drawing for myself, and you gotta keep that joy. Find those moments so that you keep that joy, because the last thing you want is for art to become this chore.
Right now.
You don't want that.
Yep. Start to hate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no. Art saved my life. When I was growing up, I saw a lot of kids go into the gangs. By the time I graduated out of high school, half the people were dead. By the time I turned 21, I was surprised that I even made it that far. and many others were in prison or more dead. And so it's like, if I had not become that person that's stuck drawing, that it's more important for me to see how this drawing is going to end up versus being out on the streets. You know, I would have a totally different life. And I'm like, no, I'm glad I like to do this.
Right.
And I don't want to ever stop.
Rather than discovering that reality 20, 30 years later after you done served time in the pen.
Yeah,
So, man, this art, this is what I should have stayed with.
Yes, right.
You know what I mean? Because that LA is LA was no joke, yo.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful place to grow up, but then we had those pitfalls was major. And so, you know, if you made the right decision, you are like, well, thank God I made that decision. So, yeah, big shout out to you for that.
Sir.
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
All right, anybody have any questions for Mr. Dan, brother?
Oh,
No? Okay, all right. Neil?
Really, no, he covered everything. You know, I don't really have questions. Like, it's always about what's next. And like you said, it's always about doing something that's not going to get stale, to get boring. And like I said, constantly recreating. You know, even though you've gotten, you know, you've done very well. People know you. Your brand's good, reputation's good. But then, like you said, you get burned out. Doesn't matter. It happens. It's a cycle of life. And then from that point on, you say, okay, where can I go next? Because as you get older, you know, you start to say, where do I go now? You know, even when you think you've already done all the stuff you wanted to do, what's next, right? And that keeps you alive, actually, keeps you keeps you vibrant. It really does. So that's the part that's very important, you know, instead of kicking back and retire. Like I can sit back and retire, but I don't want to. It's like, no, I want to get back and keep doing what I love doing. And there's so many things. And like you said, teaching and just keeping the young people inspired. That's our job, basically, as successful artists. We have to look at the young people and say, come on, get in there. You can do it. Let's go. We need more of you. So there it is.
I mean, you made an interesting point, because if you really break it down, how many really retired visual artists are there? Because like Elizabeth Catlett, right? Elizabeth Catlett, rest in peace to her, the OG, Elizabeth Catlett and her husband Francisco Mora, you know, when they're living in the United States, or really they were living in Mexico. And then I think they moved back to the United States, but she died at like 90-something years old. She was like 98, I think, when she passed. Still working. You know what I mean? So there's no retirement.
There's no retirement. I'm just talking.
Yeah, I
you
know.
know, I pretend.
Somebody is in and out. Like,
I'm in and out. Yeah. It's like I pretend I am, but then next week, somebody's gonna hire you to do something. You're like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, but then you got projects. You always working on something.
Yeah. Or they're up here.
Yeah.
I don't know about Dan. You know, it's like all night I'm dreaming. No matter what, I gotta get up in the middle of the night, write notes down.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Ooh, okay.
That's it.
You know, because I'm gonna jump on that. I'm excited about something again. You know, it never ends. Never ends.
Yeah, right on. All right. So, any last words?
Last words, that's it. Good. Check me out, Delta Tango Mike, anywhere on the internet, Delta Tango Mike. And from there, that's my website, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can find everything else, all the links to everything else. And ask me questions. Send me questions, and let's grow.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, everybody.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You guys keep me inspired still.